Word, Module 6, Merging Word Documents. This is a pretty cool module that works with merging documents. So what you'll have is what's called the main document. They also call it a template letter or a boilerplate letter. And what happens is you're merging this one letter with different fields of information, which would be inside addresses and some detailed information. And this one letter can be sent to 50 or hundreds of people with different addresses, but you're only typing that letter actually once. So go ahead and open your textbook project and start. And then you have your reading on the left hand side and your start file on the right hand side. Enable editing. So we're going to get back to this letter, but you want to save it in a place that you can retrieve it later. And this is our what will be called our boilerplate letter. So it has the letterhead and the 3 paragraphs in the middle where you'll be sending this exact same information to every record of information, which will fill in with addresses of who's receiving this letter. So go ahead and find a place to locate to save this document, because we're going to save it and then close out. So the name of this one should be 6 underscore confirm letter, and type it right, confirm letter, and your name at the end, underscore, save. And then what you're going to do is actually file, close, that way you still stay open in Word, and then you'll choose file, new, blank document, and we're going to get ready to do what's called the merge preparation. So there's actually a tab that's dedicated to merging. So select mailings, and before we get started, notice in the write and insert fields group it's all faded. So right now you couldn't do any of these actions because it's faded out. Not until we actually start the merging process will these become active. So the first thing we're going to do is click Start Mail Merge and choose Step-by-Step Mail Merge Wizard. And then over on the right hand side, a window pane opens up. Make sure Letters is selected, and at the bottom you'll notice there's one of 6 steps. And we're going to click Next Starting Document, and we're going to choose Start from Existing Document, and we're going to go and get that letter, and it should be already, that's not the one I want. That's the main one. I'm going to go to More Files, because I already did this one, Open, and get the one that you just saved, Confirm Letter. Open. And I know, why did we close out of it? In order to start the mail merge step-by-step process, you had to have the letter saved somewhere, so then now you can actually go and get it and continue with our steps. So we have our confirm letter, and what we'll do now is save this, because this will be the main letter, save as, and this one will be IL underscore WD 6 underscore confirm letter main. And if you want to get into the habit of typing your name, you can at the end. Good. So you have your beginning one, and now this will be our main one when we're ready to save it. So the first thing we're going to do is select the current date, and you can actually start typing the date, or if you want, go to Insert and then choose the calendar, date and time, choose the third option, and click OK. So you have the current date. Then down at the bottom where you see Keisha, select her name and put yours. Control Home takes you back up to the top, and then we'll click down at the bottom on where it says steps 2 through 6. You're going to click Select Next, Select Recipients. So we're actually going to start putting in the information of who we're going to send this letter to. You're going to choose Type a New List, then choose Create, And there are, so this is something like a little bit of Access and a little bit of Excel where you have column titles and you're going to fill these in almost like a worksheet. So right now there's too many columns that we're not going to need. Like there's address line 1, address line 2. So there's some things we don't need, phone numbers and so forth. So go to customize columns. These are what comes no matter which one you create. And some of them you don't need. For example, we don't need company names. So click company name and choose delete. And then yes to confirm it. And then select address line 2, delete, yes. Phone number, delete, yes. Work phone, delete, yes. And then the email address, delete, yes. And then there's times where you may want to add your own fields. So click add and you're going to type work shop and OK. And you actually want it at the top of your list. So move up and it just gradually moves up. So keep clicking move up until it's the first item. Then you'll click OK. And this is when we're going to get ready to start to fill in the information. So you should be flashing where it says resume workshop and you're going to type the first one, resume building, and then press tab. Title, this is the title of a person, Mr., Mrs., Doctor. So you'll type, for this one it's Mr., period, don't spacebar, you don't need to, tab, all tabbing just like you would be in Excel or Access, Mark, tab, long for his last name, tab, street address is 900 Grant Street, tab, the city is Seattle, and then the state is Washington, and the zip code 98105, tab, and the country is US. Then at the bottom click new entry and you're going to fill in 4 more, so I'm going to pause and come back. So continue filling all of them in. If you wanted to, because some of the addresses are too long and you can't see, just like you would in Excel or Access, double click and it widens the column for you. And you can scroll again if you want to widen this one so you can see everything. Notice there's 2 that have the workshop resume building. We're going to talk about that later, but I think it looks good. So go ahead and click OK. And what happens is once you, so this could be hundreds of data information that you fill in or just a few, and each of these records of information, so there's 5 of them right now, will get this one same letter. So we're going to click OK, and then we're going to immediately need to save this and make sure you're putting it in the location where you save your files. And this one is IL underscore WD underscore 6 underscore work shop data, and then save. And it takes us back to our list. So from here, we're actually going to, in order to edit, see how it's faded out so you can't actually do anything? You have to actually click the data source name. Now you can click edit. And then for Lena Watson, we're going to click in there, and instead of Ms., we're going to type Doctor. And then we'll click OK. Yes to update the new field. And then OK again. So it takes us back to the document. And down at the bottom, you want to go on to the next step. So next, write your letter, which we already did in a sense. We already have the letter typed. So you're going to click right above thank you. And this is where 4 lines after the date is where the inside address would be inserted. So you're going to notice these are all no longer shaded out, so you can work with these. And you'll click address block, and here's the first sample. And if you click your arrow, you can advance to the next record to see all of them, and they're all in there. And we're going to choose the one that's selected. It's the default choice. You could just have Joshua. See how it changes? It's just the first name. This is without the title, but this is covers everything, a title, and if they have any seniority at the end of their name. Make sure that what is selected is only include the U.S. country region if different then. And we're just going to click in here, and instead of United States, just type U.S. and then uncheck format address according to the destination. and then click OK. And there you have this. Now these have what are called chevrons before and after it, and then you'll press enter twice. So in that one little spot where it says address box will be the 3 or 4 lines of the inside address. So underneath the address block would be the complimentary, salutation, where you would click the greeting line. And dear is fine. There's only a couple options, 2 or none, but we'll go with dear. And again, did you just want their first name, or there's many options, but we're going to stay with the title and the person's last name, so that's fine. And instead of a comma, it should be a colon. And again, if you wanted to see the different records of information, you could view them. And then click OK. And again, you have the greeting line, so you'll press enter so that you have a blank line before the first paragraph. Now, in the very first paragraph, you'll see the word workshop in all caps. Select that. So I know it says workshop, but you're going to put in, like, for example, the first person, it was the resume building workshop, so that resume building will be in place of workshop. So what you'll do is you'll click over on the far right, more items, and actually it should be the first one selected, that's the one you want, and you'll click insert and then close. And what you just have to do is make sure you press the space bar so that there's a space. So where the chevrons are for that workshop, it's not going to say workshop, it'll say for the resume building workshop. So select today, and it's right over in the first paragraph there. So what happens, every time it's a resume workshop, it's going to be 2 days. But when there's different workshop, it'll probably be 3 days. So what we're going to do is create a rule for this, and this is similar to a rule that you would create in either Access or Excel, so you can actually do it here in Word. So at the very top, so select those 2 words, today, and then click Rules, and you'll select If Then Else. So it's looking at the field name workshop, and it's going to be equal to, and you're typing resume building, and the insert text field is to-day, and the otherwise would be 3 day. So make sure that looks good, and then you'll click OK. And it doesn't look like anything's happened, but if you right click on this, you can click toggle field codes, and it's telling you here that if resume building equals resume building, then it's 2 day, otherwise it's 3 day. So you can right click and toggle that off so that you don't see it. Just make sure you have a space bar between 2 day and intensive. And then just going to go back for a second. For some reason, everything is Calibri, but the one that we just changed, 2 day, is in Times New Roman. So if you select that and then right click, font type, and choose Calibri so that they all match, which is fine, and then OK. So it should be Calibri. So now we're ready to click Next, preview your letter. And I think I'm going to stop here on the video, so we'll continue this in part 2.